Welcome to another edition of Objective Bias featuring yours truly, Ace Alpha. This conversation is going to be a little different. I'm pretty much going to dive into my personal background leading up to podcasting. And I know y'all probably saying, "Oh, I thought you won't talk about your personal life." No, I won't talk about my current personal life, but I can definitely dive into my experiences or what have you. So that's pretty much what I'm gonna do. I also want to get a little candid for y'all. You feel what I mean? Get a little intimate with this conversation, so to speak. So pretty much, the purposes of this show, I just want to put out my government name, which is Archie Miaway, Miaway. And the reason I'm doing that is because this is going to be an episode in regards to my career leading up to where I'm at now. For a lot of the time after I stopped hooping, I've always been presented the question of pretty much what happened, why didn't you play professionally, or better yet, why don't you coach? You know what I mean? And these are the people that have known me since elementary, middle school, high school, and shit, even in college. Needless to say, respectfully, I could go. Like I had talent. Um, I always thought of myself as a pretty good athlete, basketball player, or what have you. I was very humble, but now that I look back at on it or whatever, yeah, I was definitely damn good. Just to reflect on my past basketball experience. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love basketball to this day. Like it's a passion of mine. It's just that now, at my old ass age, and when I say old ass age, I'm talking about for the purposes of aspiring to continue the pursuit of playing basketball professionally. I mean, I'm a young 37, but in sports terms or basketball terms, I'm old as shit, bro. You know what I mean? Like LeBron out here playing until he's 38, about to be 39 this year. He's an aberration. You know what I mean? Like that shit does not happen often. We're considered old out here at our age in the sport. So now that's neither here nor there. That could be a topic for another day. But yeah, I just want to take you through the journey of, when I started, trials and tribulations, and pretty much ultimately what led me to discontinue the pursuit of playing ball altogether. You know what I mean? It's a whole goddamn process story. And you know what I mean? Like I said, shit. If you fucking with me, why not fuck with me? You do what I mean? Like, why not know exactly who you fucking with, who you tuning in to, so to speak. So pretty much to get started, I started hooping at the age of 7, right? At this rec league in North DeKalb, Dorville Arena. That's north of Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta. I think I've said that before. So that's where started my basketball career, so to speak, or that's where the journey began or started out. So I was 7 years old. I started off playing recreational basketball or whatever. And it was crazy because I pretty much came into playing ball from a confident point of view or standpoint. And what happened was at 7 now, I remember making the team. Well, not making the team. Shit, your parents pay for this shit, so everybody's gonna be on the team. But I remember being assigned to a team, and the teams back then at the recreation, they were all named after colleges or whatever. So the first rec team I played for was named Georgia Tech. But as far as the confident factor came into play, I remember going up to the coach immediately and telling him I wanted to play point guard. Now, the reason I went up to him and said that, and he granted that request, so to speak, well, not so to speak, he definitely granted it, is because I wanted the ball in my hand. Man, like when I first started, like I was a bucket getter. Like you couldn't tell me shit on the court. Like I was gonna score me some points. So that was the reason I wanted to play point guard because I knew as I learned the game as I started watching years prior, the point guard always had the ball in their hands. So shit, that's what I want to do. Shit, I want to get to have the ball in my hand. What you talking about? But pretty much, first season didn't win the championship, but we was a pretty good team. I pretty much carried us during that time, and that was my first year, which for me was a success in itself. Just my first year hooping, organized basketball. I pretty much knew my way around the court. I pretty much played, let's see, 3 years recreationally. I played 3 years recreationally. And going into my second stint or my second year at this recreational spot, that's actually when I met my soon to be AAU coach. And that's pretty much it. For those of that are not aware, I'm sure you're fucking aware about AAU in 2023, but that was pretty much that my introduction to travel basketball. You know, playing outside of like my county, my city, you know, my town, or what have you. Which was quite an experience in itself. And my second year, my recreational team was called LSU. By my third year, it was Georgia. But we did win a championship my second year, and that's when I actually met my AU coach, Derek Dickerson, Coach Dickerson. RIP to him. He passed a few years ago. That was like my godfather. And as I grew up, he was like a godfather for a lot of us. But that's a different topic for another day. But RIP Coach Dickerson. But he was the first person that introduced me to AAU basketball. Now, the first AAU basketball team I played on was the Atlanta Celtics. And for those that kind of are familiar with Atlanta basketball, that is one of, if not the most prestigious AAU basketball team in the city. Been around for a long ass time. Like I said, your boy 37. So just imagine like at fucking 9 years old, that was shit almost 30 years ago. And they was here before even I started playing. Just to let you know how long they've been around and how prestigious they were. But just for example, players like Dwight Howard, Josh Smith, Davaris Creighton, or something like that. I can't pronounce his last name. He's actually unfortunately in jail right now for another situation, but we're not going to go into that direction. Randolph Morris, you know, just to name a few people that pretty much were well known as the years progressed or whatever. But yeah, I was 9 years old when I joined my first AAU team, which was the Atlanta Celtics. And unfortunately, that didn't last long. What I mean by that is at the time, the coach that brought me in, Derek Dixon, his son didn't make the first team. I mean, I did. I mean, shit. Like I told you, I could go. Don't like I was not bullshitting. I could play, man. But because of that, he felt some type of way. He was like, man, fuck that shit. I'm about to start my own squad. So he started a squad called the Georgia Junior Hawks, which we were pretty good. We were like one of the top squads in the city, winning multiple tournaments or at least being in the finals or sometimes finishing in the top three. But usually we were always in the finals, regardless of what was going on. And that was going on for a couple of years. We kind of ran shit around here. We didn't run shit. Like I said, we was one of the top teams around the city. Then at some point in time, I want to say once I got to maybe middle school, they pretty much merged with this with another prestigious AAU squad. I don't know if they're still around though, but we merged with Team Georgia. We were pretty much called Team Georgia Junior Hawks. And then as I got older, it just went to straight Team Georgia, and the rest was history. But I was always pretty good. I mean, I contribute my talent to being introduced to travel basketball, AAU basketball, because pretty much, which a lot of kids nowadays are not aware of, you really get better by playing outside of your city limits, outside of your county, in different states, things of that nature. And for me, like playing in the hoods of Atlanta built toughness when it came for me, talent from a talent perspective. It helped me go through adversity on the court. And I know you're like, adversity on the court, you get no, this shit's real now. Shit, if you're not in this realm, you probably don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but it's a real thing. But yeah, playing in the hoods of Atlanta, playing all over, going state to state, and just facing different levels of competition really it gave you an appreciation of the game because prior to me being introduced to travel basketball, you couldn't tell me nothing. I didn't know nothing outside of my neighborhood, my little city limit. I was like, I'm the best motherfucker in the world. Hey, can't nobody beat me in basketball. I'm like the best. Really, that was a real thing. Like I thought I was the best in the world. Like nobody could my stop me from scoring. That's what I thought. And I was given, I wouldn't say a rude awakening, but like I said, playing AAU basketball really humbled me to this point where I respected, my peers, my competitors, things of that nature, to the point to where I'm like, okay, I'm not the best, but shit, playing against the best, from wherever they come from is gonna make me better. So I played I played AAU basketball up until my junior year of high school. Senior year, you really are zoned in and pretty much preparing for the next level, which is college or whatever. But started playing with my school, eighth grade. And then when I got to high school, which the high school I went to is Norcross High School, if any of you really follow high school or youth sports, in 2023, Norcross is considered a national powerhouse. And that's where I attended my high school at or whatever, and that's where I played. Now, my freshman year of high school, I played JV, and the head coach at varsity at that time, he's really old school. He was really old school. So he was of the mindset of, you know, depending on your age and your grade, that's going to determine which squad you're on. If you're on a freshman squad, I mean, you're good, but you're not next level good. You feel what I'm saying? Like you're good for your age. If you're playing JV as a freshman, okay, you're a little better than your peers. So let's bump you to the next level. And of course, varsity is the top level in high school. So I started off playing JV. I mean, I finished the season, played JV, but I didn't start playing varsity until I had a 30-point game at the JV level. Then I caught the head coach's attention at the varsity level, right? Again, I go. Let me not hold you. Right? But yeah, it had me like a 30-plus point game my freshman year on the JV level, which led the high school, the head basketball coach of the varsity team to pay attention. So next thing you know, I started practicing with the varsity team, dressing out and all of that. I remember my first game, the first game I started playing at the varsity level as a freshman. When I tell you, your boy was nervous as fuck. Like I forget who he was playing, but it was a home game, and I just remember the court, right? It seemed so fucking big, like, and I felt like I was like a little kid, and the motherfucking crowd was just like towering over me, like it was like shrunken into some shit. Of course, that's not what happened, but in my mind, that's what was going down. Like, needless to say, I was nervous as fuck. I was anxious. I didn't know what to expect. I'm a motherfucking 13, 14-year-old. Yeah, 14-year-old playing against motherfucking 18, 17-year-olds. And this was the first time I really played up in age. You feel what I mean? So of course these motherfuckers were like stronger than me and all of the above, but it was something I needed to go through for my development as a young ball player, a young man on the court, a freshman at the time. And as soon as JV ended, I was playing varsity full time. Went to the state playoffs, I believe, that year for the first time in I don't know how long in that school's history. Because when I got to Norcross, as far as the reputation, we were not one of the good basketball programs in the state, let alone the county. You know what I mean? So it was a work in progress as far as the team getting better and the recognition starting to come. But that was my freshman year. Finished up playing varsity, went to state. Nervous as shit, all the above. So my sophomore year comes around, right? And I'm thinking, okay, I got me a little experience under my belt, about to come in sophomore year and do my thing. Um, what happened my sophomore year again? The head coach, he was just different. You know what I mean? I'm not even gonna call him out because I don't. Even though I have my thoughts about him, because I was young at the time, and as I grew older, I kind of realized what it was with him. Um, I'm not gonna, speak any negative words towards him. Now, don't get it fucked up confused. I got some negative words to say about somebody in this bitch, and I'm gonna get to that shit. But not him. Motherfucker was young, and I ain't even gonna get him go in that route. But I will say, out my sophomore year, we had this transfer, and um, for whatever reason, he was a sophomore as well. He transferred from Parkview. I know if he sees this pod, he's gonna know exactly who I'm talking about. Jay Crow. I'm gonna just leave it at that. But it was this white boy that transferred over from another school in the county. Now he was good at himself. He was a sharpshooter. He was athletic for a white boy, and he actually played AAU on one of the well-known AAU teams within the city. I think it was the Atlanta Crusaders. Word Voice. They were also known as Word Voice. But yeah, he's pretty good. And I respected that. Like I ain't have no problem with him coming over. Like shit, the more talent, the better. And this was when um players or students in the basketball realm started to transfer over to Norcross slowly but surely. That is a real thing in sports. I mean, it's everyday practice now, but back then it wasn't really something that was done quite often. Often, I'm sorry, quite often. But as we started to get older, we started to see it more and more. But pretty much what happened with him transferring over, and this was another adverse circumstance I had to go through. For whatever reason, our head coach was infatuated with. And what I mean by that is I'm in the program, but this white boy comes over. And again, there's no negative connotation with me saying that, but I mean it is what it is. This white boy come over, and for whatever reason, you're playing him more than me. The freshman that you brought up that dropped 30 something in a JV game, you want to play this white boy that just transferred over more than me. Now, granted, no shade towards him, but I was a better overall player than him. I mean, he could shoot his ass. He could shoot way better than me. Like he was well advanced when it came to shooting, but as far as a overall basketball player and overall talent, I was way better. I'm not way better. Let me stop. That was disrespect. My bad, Jay Crow. I ain't even mean to go in that direction, but I was. But it wasn't even about who was better at the time because it's a team game. But what I saw at the beginning of my freshman year, and I mean my sophomore year, is I really wasn't playing. Like my boy Jay Crow was playing. Of course the returning starters were getting time, but I wasn't really seeing the court. Like I made like the first few games. I don't know how many games it was, but the first few games, like I may have seen 5 to 10 minutes tops. Now, me knowing my talent, this really wasn't working. Was it? And me, like, I wasn't the most vocal person back then, but I knew that I'm not gonna be sitting on nobody's motherfucking bench. Like that's one thing I will not tolerate is not playing. You feel me? So what I did is I went to the JV coach, had a conversation with him, pretty much said, of course, I don't know the nature of the conversation verbatim, but in a nutshell, I was like, man, I ain't come up to varsity full time to sit on nobody's bench. So if that's the plan, again, I'm paraphrasing like a motherfucker because I can't remember a motherfucker thing I said my 10th grade year, but I do remember the narrative of that conversation or the nature of that conversation. I pretty much said, if I'm not playing up at varsity, I'm coming back down to JV. Fuck is y'all talking? And not too many people are aware of this conversation, even motherfuckers that I played with or whatever. They did not know I went to my JV coach, well, my former JV coach, and pretty much threatened to come back down to varsity because I had a thing of, you're not going to waste my motherfucking time by having me play up if I'm not going to actually play. So miraculously, I want to say the next game, Guess what happened? Your boy got in. Your boy got some decent playing time. Your boy had 20 something points. Good play. So, from then on, I became a starter, heavy in the rotation. I don't know how many I averaged my sophomore year, but I probably averaged over 10. I probably anywhere between 10 and 15 points my sophomore year. I wasn't the leading scorer. I'm sorry. I'm over here tongue tied like a motherfucker. It was my boy Edward Eidelberg. I'm gonna throw out some names during this pod because I got talking to basketball sense. You feel me? That's why threw out my name at the beginning. But Edward Eidelberg, shout out to my boy. I don't know what he got going on these days, but yeah, he was the leading scorer. He was actually a sharpshooter. He was like a volume shooter. If I could compare him to anyone in the league, not currently, but fairly as current, I would no, I'll say currently like a goddamn Jordan Clarkson, like Lou Williams, motherfucking Jamal Crawford did when he was in the league. Norman Powell from the Clippers, like he was just he was just an offensive menace. Like he just was gonna put him up and goddamn just knock them shits down. Like he was a high volume shooter and scorer at the time. So what I mean, I mind, like I said, I didn't mind taking the back seat. What I mean, if you just better at me at the time, shit, I can respect it. I just needed to see the court too, because I knew what I could bring. You feel me? Um, the unfortunate thing that year was Edward Eidelberg. He started to see his time kind of dwindle a little bit because we were kind of getting better as an overall team. Of course, you had me finally starting to play. We had my boy Jay Crow on the squad. And then, he just wasn't getting the touches of the time that he wanted. I even remember one time he got benched, at the end of the game because unfortunately he was a defensive liability. And I think that was a cherry on top. He quit that day or that evening. And again, it was just a situation to where he couldn't take that. You had up and coming players. Me and Jay Crow were sophomores, and he was at the time a senior. And he just like, man, I ain't about to get stand for this. So that's neither here nor there. I'm getting into a whole different type of story and dynamic. Let me get back on the subject matter at hand. So yeah, we finished that season, ended up going to the playoffs, and I remember when Edward actually quit the team. I remember I can't remember if it was the first round or second round of the state tournament. We were losing, we were pretty much losing the majority of the game. And I remember the head coach came to me. He was like, Archie, this is your team. Take over. I'm like, Brian, you won't tell me now when you are playing a superior team to take over? You should have given me the green light a long time ago. But needless to say, we ended up losing the game or whatever, and that was pretty much a wrap for my sophomore year. Now, junior year's coming around. We getting better. Starting to add a few more pieces. I'm getting better, you know what I'm saying? Nigga getting older. You dig what I'm saying? Like I'm about to come in and start doing my thing over there. So junior year come around, and actually I started off in a slump. I don't know if a little bit of the pressure got to me or whatever the case may be. We actually got a new head coach that year, Eddie Martin, one of the well-known head coaches in Gwinnett history, Eddie Martin. But we got a new coach. He was like on some no nonsense shit, like on some militant type shit. That from a disciplinary point of view when it comes to coaching, he was one of those guys, right? So when he came in, he changed up things. We had to pretty much fall in line with um his philosophy, the culture that he was about to instill in us. And again, I don't know if it was the pressure or the combination of that and also me adjusting to how things are being ran now. it took me a minute to get going. And I ain't gonna lie, Jason Crowley, Jay Crow, I just gave out his whole government, my bad, bro. But Jay Crow was actually the better player at the beginning of that year. I guess because he was a shooter, his game easily transitioned because I mean, if you can shoot, you can really play anywhere. And at this time, I was a streaky shooter. What that means is I really wasn't that consistent. Like I can get hot at times, hit a few shots here and there. Like when I say shooter, like 3-pointers and shit like that, not getting buckets. I'm talking about like shooting from the outside. I was very streaky, so I think I just had so major plans for myself going into that year. Like, yeah, this is my coming out party in a basketball sense. Don't get it fucked up. Motherfuckers gonna really know who the fuck I am and shit like that. Because mind you, I always had that confidence, but I wasn't like a cocky player. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't arrogant. I ain't talk shit on the court. And the reason I didn't really talk shit was outside of my humility is I don't know about other motherfuckers, but anytime I talk shit, I play bad. I don't know. I guess like again, it was me putting too much pressure on myself. I don't know, but anytime I talk shit, I played horrible. So outside of being humble, I just wasn't gonna put that additional pressure on me. But yeah, junior year came around. I started off slow, and I remember like the fan base low key was cheering for going for Jay Crow against the Great White Hope at the time. And just to kind of give us some background, before motherfuckers started to really move to the county that I went to high school with, it was not a lot of us. And what I mean by that, you know what I'm saying, just understand where I'm coming from. It wasn't a lot of us out here. So respectfully though, yeah, it's like they saw Jay Pro and he was doing this thing. He started off the season hot. I started off very slow, and I ain't gonna lie, I felt some type of way. That was another thing I had to go through, some more adversity. Uh, I was like, damn, the fan base going for this goddamn person that just got here and I've been here. But I ain't let that fuck with me as far as my confidence was concerned. Like I knew at some point I would get my groove back and get going again, and eventually I did. Ended the season leading the team in scoring. You know what I'm saying? J. Crow was right behind me, but it took me some time to catch him in the points department. But I eventually did. You feel me? And let's transition to my senior year now. This is when things get interesting because now I know what the fuck I'm doing. You dig what I mean? Like in all aspects as a high school basketball player. Of course, I had different levels I needed to mature to, but in the high school basketball realm, you couldn't tell me shit. Like I knew I was the fucking man on the squad, respectfully. Of course, I didn't say that, but I always felt it. It was more of a confidence thing for me. Now, before I even get into my senior year, there were other players around the county that were getting recognition before me, which I never understood. Again, I always felt like I was an afterthought, or I was like the B side of things, or I was like, oh, he's honorable mention. But in my mind, in my heart, I knew I could go, but I just didn't understand why I wasn't getting the recognition as others. But we had like players like Channing Tony, Lewis Williams, and another one that legend, Whitney Witherspoon. Like you hear motherfuckers talking about them before me, Archie Neal, and I just never understood because by the time our senior year rolled around, we were one of the top two teams in the county and one of the top two teams in the state. Now we weren't ranked as a top two team yet. We got there though. I mean, we ended up being ranked number one team in the state, but I just was kind of surprised by that. I just remember one time there was only one editor. I don't remember his name. I got that shit somewhere. I got like a little scrapbook my mom made for me. Shout out to Mom Dukes as a graduation present. But he was like the only one I ever saw that gave me like credit before anyone else, saying the headline was like the best player not named Lewis Williams or Channing Tony. And they had a little article about me. And I always appreciated that because I'm like, okay, finally someone sees that I'm one of the top guys around this motherfucker. You feel me? Because again, I didn't want to. I didn't ever want to be that person that spoke about himself or like, oh, look at me or shit like that. I always felt like you get and you gain respect from your peers and the people that come and see you perform. You know what I mean? And that's what I was looking for because I already knew how talented I was. I already know the work I put in. So that's what all I was looking for. But fast forward, our senior year goes through. We're undefeated throughout the regular season. I'm averaging 20 something points a game, and just imagine. I don't know, just to provide some context, averaging 20 plus in high school is a feat because I remember back then. I don't know what it is now. I think it's still the same. 8 minute quarters. Pretty much, you're playing 32-minute games, and I was averaging 20 something. Let that sink in. Again, I gotta pop my shit a little bit on this. So you did what I mean. Um, but yeah, I was one of those guys. Like I said, I wasn't. I'm not bullshit. Like I was one of those guys or whatever. So senior year came. Unfortunately, we didn't win it all. We ended up losing our first game of the season in the region tournament. And the way the brackets were set up, because we lost that region championship game to South Gwinnett, fucking Lewis Williams and the motherfuckers. And a side note, I used to low key hate on Lewis. I ain't gonna lie. Like I got all the respect for him now, of course. You know what I mean? Like as we got older, became cool with him and things of that nature. But at the time, I was like, this young ass motherfucker coming in, just taking over and shit. Um, and I was hating. I ain't gonna lie, I was hating. But yeah, there was no denying how great he was, especially in high school. Hell, he went from high school to the NBA. So that tells you everything. I remember. I'll give you one game, an example that for an example that stood out, right? And then I'm gonna get back to my story or back to my timeline. It was our junior year. We played South Gwinnett in the region championship 2 years in a row, junior year and senior year. Also, I don't know how the fuck they finessed having the region championship at their school two years in a row. But y'all motherfuckers, y'all doing something that wasn't supposed to be done because you know what I mean. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, junior year region championship game, I had 31, I believe, right? So of course, had a 31 point game. You would think I was doing something, right? Guess how much this nigga Lewis had? 46 points. At that point, that's when I stopped eating. I was like, you know what? I gotta give all respect. That's a league guy. That's league production right there. 46 points in a 32-minute game. That's wow. But yeah, he did that shit. Okay, so let me get back to the story at hand. So by the time I ended my high school campaign as a high school basketball player, I ended up being the second leading scorer in Norcross history. Of course, I know that number. I know I didn't drop down quite a bit since then. Shit, that was fucking '04. Shit, that's almost 20 years ago. But yeah, just provide that context. That's how God was. You know what I mean? Like now the only thing about me being that good at that time, like I told you, Norcross prior to my class getting there never really got recognition for basketball. So of course scouts and coaches, like big time scouts and coaches, they weren't coming to our games for real. They didn't really start coming until junior, senior year. And more so our senior year because we were number one. Once because we did beat South Indian one time. We did get the motherfuckers one time out there. Um, After we beat them, we became the number one team in the state. Now all eyes were on us. Norcross is the best team in the state, and that's when motherfuckers started coming in. Now, unfortunately for me, I had to take the junior college route. Now, I won't call it unfortunate as far as my experience, but from a political sense, trying to make it professionally, it definitely at the time set me back. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the reason I had to go to a junior college was it was actually two reasons. The first and more, I would like to say, official reason is I didn't qualify for a scholarship academically. Now, before you think a motherfucker was dumb, I it wasn't explained to me until we got our new head coach my junior year how much your GPA factored into your SAT score, which correlated to your you qualifying for an athletic scholarship. My SAT scores wasn't a problem. My GPA just was trash. And I never knew that coming into high school. I was just of the mindset you pass at least 5 out of your 6 classes each year and you straight. The head coach never explained that to us. It wasn't until we got this new head coach that he attempted to explain that part. But by that time, I'm already 2 years in, so I'm goddamn doing the bare minimum in school because I wasn't one of those studious ass motherfuckers. Like I didn't really care for school too much. Like I just wanted to hoop and just that's it. I just wanted to hoop and have fun. So by the time I realized, oh shit, I need to pick some shit up, I already had created like a foundation of a GPA that it was going to be hard to pull up to where I could qualify for a scholarship. So I actually committed to Georgia Southern out of high school, and Georgia Southern assisted with finding my junior college. Now, I actually visited 2 junior colleges before one wanting me, so to speak. And I didn't really know much about the junior college space, but apparently I had fallen into one of the best junior college basketball conferences in the United States. That is the Panhandle Conference down in Florida. Now, like I said, I visited two colleges or whatever. The first junior college was Chipola College, and they didn't want me. Now, the reason why I'm not sure. I can probably try to guess. I think it was a combination of when I went to visit them, and when you visit these schools as a basketball athlete, I don't know how it is now, but I know back then we always used to have an opportunity to play with the guys like scrimmage or whatever. I was out of shape. I ain't gonna lie, like I was out of shape. I mean, I thought I was in shape, but apparently I was not. That was for one. And the second thing, my mom was like heavily involved in that process. Like she took me down there. She was asking the coaches a million and one questions. She didn't really like the location. It was like this you know how you go through those little towns that look like, if I could compare it to something, of course it's not this, but like a hole in the wall. Like one of those cities, like you didn't really have too much going on. It was like a swampy area, a lot of woods and shit like that. Like you had to like drive 45 minutes, I believe, if I can remember, or an hour to like a known city. I think Panama City was close to it or something like that. And my mom didn't really like that place for me, to be honest. She didn't think it was safe and all this shit. So I think a combination of me being out of shape and my mom's concern turned the coach off. So he passed him. So the next school I went to, mind you, because I went there and I played and I felt like I was out of shape, I was like, the next time I have a visit, best believe I'll be in better shape. So I was, prepping myself or whatever. So on this next trip, and the next trip was to Tallahassee Community College, um, the head coach actually came up to pick me up. So my mom wasn't the one that was taking me down to the school. The coach came to pick me up. He came all the way up to Atlanta. We drove down, and his purpose of doing that, he wanted to get to know me, which was quite awkward for me at the time because I really wasn't talking like that. Like I said, I just was a hooper. Like my conversation wasn't hitting no shit back in high school, even college years or whatever. So it was a little awkward for me, but he carried the conversation. He got to know me, went down there, did my motherfucking thing. I wouldn't say I killed. I think I did all right. But I think he was interested because he knew what I did in high school. I was recommended there, and they're like, "Shit, we want you." So shit, I signed to play at Tallahassee Community College. Now, some people don't even know I went to junior college. Some people that met me at the 4 year school, which I'm gonna get to, figured that that's where I went all 4 years. Nah, bro, I got it out the mud, literally. Like I got it out the mud, and that's what made everything. Once I get to it full circle, that much more disappointing because I was grinding. I was talented. I got it out the mud. You know what I'm saying? I went the junior college route that I had no idea about, but that shit was actually an amazing experience. Freshman year, leading scorer, made all freshman team within the conference. Sophomore year, our squad was actually way better than my freshman year. Led the team in scoring again, made the first team all conference team, and also my team made it to the national tournament. Now, just to kind of give some context of what made this sweet is because the team that we played to go to the national tournament was Chipola, the school or the coach that did not want. And let me tell you how crazy this was. Now, this actually happened in my high school years, my junior and senior year, and also my freshman and sophomore year of college. The tournament to go to the national, the state tournament to go to the national tournament, guess where it was held? Chipola. And guess who we played in the championship game? Chipola. So I'm going against the coach that did not want me, that turned me down, and we beat them motherfuckers in, I believe, double overtime. I so wish I could get a grab of that game footage because that shit was epic. And we beat them, and guess what happened? Your boy got tournament MVP, most outstanding player. So I'm on the court of the school across from the coach that did not want me, that was not interested, holding the most outstanding player plaque. And we won the championship. And we sent y'all motherfuckers home. And we go to the national tournament. The fuck y'all talking about? You know what I mean? That was so sweet, man. So that year went forward. We actually made it to the national tournament finals, and unfortunately we lost in the championship game. I had gone ahead and made the first team for that national tournament, and it was a great experience, man. Like again, getting out the mud. I'm at the highest level for the junior college rankings as far as competition, and I'm being seen finally. So prior to that national tournament, going back on my sophomore year, my last year at junior college, we actually had a tournament in Ocala, Florida. This was actually like I want to say like a round robin, so to speak, or whatever you want to call it, to where a lot of coaches come to see you. Now, I'm making a name for myself because I'm already, my freshman year, I was the leading scorer on this team and made the first team. So I'm kind of making a name for myself leading up until right before the start of my sophomore campaign. I remember getting a phone call, and this is before I even get to that part. This is one of the toughest phone calls I've ever had to go through in my life. And what I mean by that is, as you remember me, telling the story in the beginning or leading up to this, I had committed to Georgia Southern at a high school, and they're the program, or those are the coaches that found the school for me. So they were under the impression that as soon as my sophomore year started, I would sign my scholarship with them, and then I'll pretty much be leaving junior college and going to Georgia Southern, which was the plan fresh out of high school. Now, I had a different plan in mind when I went to junior college. I appreciate and respected what they did, but I knew what my what exposure my talent could lead me to. You know what I mean? Like me starting to find out this is one of the major junior college conferences in the nation, and just seeing what I could do, I'm like, I'm gonna get more recognition playing at this junior college than I did at high school. Because again, if you remember, even though my high school is a prestigious powerhouse now, we wasn't back then. So let me get back to this difficult conversation. So his name was Coach Dollar. And I remember it was early signing period, and pretty much that's where they, lock in who they want, like the top players or whatever. And Coach Dollar called me. He was like, "Yo, Archie, you ready to sign that scholarship?" Coach, I gotta holler at you real quick. I don't think I'm coming to Georgia Southern, bro. He was like, "What? What you mean?" I just want to, I want to see or try my hand out and see who else, what other opportunities I can have. So of course, once he heard that, he was disappointed. And the thing about me, I'm a loyal individual. I've always been a loyal individual, especially when it came to sports. I didn't really like, even when it was a thing playing AAU when I was younger, I used to see kids jump from AAU squads to AAU squads, want to play with their friends and shit. I stuck with one person, one team for the majority, majority of the time, unless we merged and connected with other teams. I stayed with one, program for the most part. So that was really difficult for me to do. But I'm older now, and I'm just trying to think of my career because shit, I got aspirations to play professionally. Of course, I want to play in the NBA, but at minimum, I'm playing overseas. So that's where my thought process was. Like Georgia Southern was and is a mid-major program. I was like, I need to go, major Division 1. You know what I mean? That's where the exposure is going to come from. You know what I mean? I already got a plan in my head. I'm laying out a blueprint in my own head. So we have that conversation, and he's like, okay, how about this? Just promise that, or give us your word that you'll take a visit. I'm like, okay, coach, I can do that. I'll make sure I take a visit after the season. So get back to that tournament I was talking about. I remember getting a phone call from, he wasn't a coach. He really kind of just assisted with the team. I don't know if he had a relationship with the head coach, the assistant coach, or whatever the case may be, but he was kind of always around, just kind of helping out here and there. His name was Tommy Dillon. Shout out to Tommy. Got to give people their recognition, their flowers, or whatever. But I remember on the way to this tournament where all of the like kind of major Division 1 schools are going to come see us play. He hit me up, was like, and again, I'm on the bus on the way to the game. You're like, hey Archie, you're not still going to Georgia Southern, are you? I'm like, nah, I'm not committed to them no more. I'm pretty much a free agent out here, so to speak. You're like, okay, we got Auburn here. They want to check you out. Auburn University, Southeastern Conference. I'm like, oh, for real? I'm like, nah. He's like, are you sure you're not going to Georgia Southern? I'm like, nah, I ain't going to Georgia Southern, man. I'm out here. So that game with that Auburn University came to see me play, I scored 28 points. Mind you, I'm doing everything. Hitting threes, driving to the hole, getting to the free throw line. Again, when it came to that basketball court, I prided myself in being an all-around player. You feel what I mean? So, needless to say, after that game, that's Georgia Southern, my bad. Auburn University was in pursuit. I'm like, cool, shit. That's the first major D1 school. The game plan is coming together. Plan is coming into fruition. Yeah, I'm making it happen. You know what I mean? This is what all I'm thinking about as I seize the opportunity to get a Division 1 school to notice me. And there were other schools. Cincinnati University, Cincinnati was interested. Old Miss was interested. Georgia State, and a few more. There was a couple of more, but I wasn't really even focused on a lot of schools because for Cincinnati, Actually used to like Cincinnati as a kid growing up, like in the program, but I was about to go. If I'm a Southern boy, you dig what I mean? I'm from the South. I want to say the South. You feel me? But um, so the season comes to a conclusion. We finished second in the nation. Now it's time to, start taking my trips, go on my visits. I go. I honor my promise to Georgia Southern. Take a visit there. Now I ain't gonna lie. I had a ball on that shit. You know what I mean? It's some shit that is not made for this episode, but just know it went down when I went to Georgia Southern. Had an amazing time. So went to Georgia Southern first. Then my second visit was to Auburn University, and I enjoyed myself as far as the environment. Like I think I was in awe as well because I'm also thinking about how big this university is, the conference that is in, and the third and most important thing, it literally was down the street from the crib. Auburn University is an hour and a half from downtown Atlanta. So it's like, I'm far, but I'm close enough to, pull up on a crib. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing me, shit like that. So pretty much after that visit, I pretty much knew where I was going. Now, I will tell you one thing that happened to where they finessed me. If I would have known better, I would have taken another visit. Let me tell you what happened. Um, and the reason I didn't know better in this sense was because I was the first person out of my family to have an athletic scholarship to a university. And also, needless to say, a basketball scholarship. You feel me? And I really, when I say I got it out the mud, God rest his soul, my AU coach, when I got to a certain level, he no longer was around. And it wasn't done on purpose. Like I said, when he passed away, I realized he was kind of like a godfather to a lot of people. So it finally made sense to why he didn't just stick with me. But I pretty much went on the visit on my own. Of course, my parents, well, my mom and my stepdad. Um, of course, God rest his soul as well. My dad passed away when I was like 3, so he ain't no deadbeat or nothing like that. He just, he's just no longer here. God rest his soul. Um, they didn't know nothing about no goddamn scholarships and sports like that. So pretty much, it was me making the decision. I didn't really get no guidance, no advice from anyone that's been through that or just an OG to look up to and kind of, pick their brain as far as, making the correct decision. All I'm thinking about is how major the school is and the location and how close to the crib it is. So, but yeah, back to them finessing me to sign. And of course, I had all intentions to sign there, but now that I look back on it, they did finesse me because I told them pretty much I had another trip lined up. I can't remember if it was to Ole Miss or Cincinnati, or at least that was going to be my plan. And the assistant coach at the time, Coach Johnson, he pretty much told me, "Shit, if you don't sign while you're here, we can't take a chance. We may sign someone else." Now, if I was older, more mature, and more seasoned in the game, I would have had the know-it-all to be like, well, shit, if you really want a motherfucker, then you'll wait. But I ain't know. I was young. I was immature. Ain't never been in this space. So shit, I took that like, shit, I really want to go to this school. What if they do sign somebody else? Man, fuck, I might as well just sign and quit. I mean, quit with all the games and shit. You know what I mean? So again, they finessed me into signing and shit, but I that's where the politics come into play to where I started to get a taste of that. This is where I was introduced to the politics of major college basketball or sports. You feel me? So they got me. I go there, I'm excited. I'm about to goddamn, do my thing at Auburn. Again, the blueprint, my game plan is working. I'm getting out the mud. I'm going with the slow grind. You feel me? Like I'm getting where I need to be. It's just, I'm just, trusting the process. Because again, I know I'm talented. I know I can go. So just knowing my skill set and what I can, bring, I just got to go, do my thing at Auburn for 2 years, and shit, I'm in the league. I'm overseas. You feel me? Like it's only right. Everything is moving how it needs to move. Everything is in motion, so to speak. So when I get there, I get to Auburn late because I got to finish up at the junior college. I got to, take summer classes and shit like that. So I get there late, meaning that I wasn't a part of the summer program because I had to finish school at Tallahassee. So when I get to Auburn, I got to play catch up. You feel me? Like I got to do like double conditioning, and their strength and conditioning coach is fucking killing me, trying to get me right. He was killing me to the point. I remember one time coming back home for a visit. I, it was a moment of truth. I didn't know I want to keep playing basketball. I really didn't, and the reason for that was because of all of the working out, the conditioning, trying to catch up. It was fucking killing me, man. Like I ain't never been through that much of working out to the point to where I was throwing up and shit. Like I even remember that there was like that first conditioning workout. You gonna throw up? I ain't nobody about to throw up. Fuck is you talking about? Yeah. Now nobody saw me throw up because I was about to throw up in front of y'all fuck boys. You know what I'm saying? I ain't about to prove y'all right. Yeah, y'all talking about. So I remember after the first 6 a.m. conditioning workout I had, afterwards was in the locker room, just, sitting in my locker, kind of was just trying to, get myself together. I even remember the last one sprint, motherfuckers had to drag me across the baseline because I was fucking, pass out, all of the above. But yeah, once everybody left, I went in that bathroom, threw up all the Gatorade, all the water that I had taken in, and some stomach acid, everything just came out. You know what I'm saying? So like, and I wanted to tell that story just to give you some context or a glimpse in how much work I was fucking putting in to get right. You feel me? Because I love this shit. I have a passion for basketball. And trust me, I was like, if I didn't love something, I was going to put my all into it. So shit, this is just part of the process. You know what I'm saying? I had to goddamn do what I had to do, get right, get caught up to speed, so I can be in condition to stay on the court with these guys and shit like that. So I had to go through it. So getting it in, you know what I'm saying, practicing, prepping for the season, and all of the above. What I did notice, and again, I started to like kind of look back and reflect on things. I did kind of notice that the head coach, his name is Jeff Lebo, he was trying to change my game. What I mean by that is Jeff Lebo was the type of coach that wanted to have like an X's and O's type of team or program. Like he wants to run hella plays, and he has a vision to for you to adapt to his coaching style versus adapting to your playing style. Now, in today's age, the coaches that are successful, of course, they have their philosophy, right? They have their game plan, they have their vision, but they also know how to implement that into or with the type of players that they have. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you can't just take a talented individual, regardless of what sport it is, and take away everything that made them who they were. Of course, you want to give them some of your knowledge. You want to fine tune some things, but you got to let that player be that player. That's what got him there. You feel me? So I remember one time in practice, and I'm gonna have a couple of situations. I remember one time in practice, like I'm a shooter. That's what I do. When y'all came to see me motherfucking play, the fuck did you see me doing? Buying that bitch, putting that shit up, hitting threes, getting to the basket. I was a scorer and a shooter. You feel me? And I worked hard to become that because, like I told you previously, like when I was in high school, I was just a scorer. I wasn't a shooter like that. Once I added that to my game, that's when I felt like I took off as far from a talent perspective. So all they saw was just well, all Jeff Lebos envisioned me was shooting threes in the corner. Now, where he got that logic from, I don't fucking know, but that's what he envisioned for me for whatever reason. I remember one time in practice, shit, you know what I mean? I'm just going through the flow and I put up a shot. I missed it, but I still put it up. He stopped practice. Again, my name is Archie. No, Archie, what the fuck did you do with shooting that arch deluxe? That's what he called it. No, I'm like, whatever. I'm just looking at him like, the fuck is you talking about shit? I'm doing this is what got me here. He got on me for playing my game. So again, he tried to change me. He just wanted me to be strictly a shooter, just run corner to corner and just shoot threes. Which I mean, shit, it is your team. At this time, what, 20 years old, 19, 20? Yeah, 20 years old because I'm a junior in college. And I'm just gonna do what Coach saying. Shit, if that's what you want me to do, I'm gonna do what you want me to do. But in return, because I know how talented I am, and I'm a follow instructions, where they need to be implemented. I'm expecting to be on the court in return. Like that's all I know. So let's go into my junior year album. Right, I went from starting like the first game we played. It was a preseason game or whatever. I had like 15 points. And yeah, I put up quite a few shots, but that's just kind of I was a shooter. The fuck you want me to do? Like I had 15 points my first preseason game. So I went from starting. I started a few games to just he changed up the rotation. I was coming off the bench. I was playing a nice amount of minutes, a decent amount of minutes, to where I was even lucky to see the court. Now I'm having a flashback to my sophomore year of high school when I was barely seeing the court at the beginning of the season. I'm like, what the fuck going on? Like, why am I not playing? Like, I put in all this fucking work. I know how talented I am. I'm doing everything you fucking told me. Why the fuck am I not playing? Of course, these are all thoughts in my head. I'm not at the point of my life to where I got the balls to say that to the head coach. You feel me? I remember one time we was in film study, watching the game that we previously had. And I made a move, right? I did like a one dribble pull up, hit the shot in the guy's face or whatever. This motherfucker Levo stopped game tape, right? And was like, Archie, what was that? A bucket? I mean, I ain't answer like that, but a good shot. He's like, do you think that was a good shot? I'm like, yeah. He's like, how did you know? How did you not know the defender wasn't going to contest your shot? How the fuck am I supposed to answer that question? How does any offensive player that is truly an offensive player know what the fuck the defender is supposed to do or is going to do? The defender in our eyes is at our wheel. You know what I mean? We are dictating what the fuck is going on the court, not the defender. But that's the bullshit in the mind games he started to play with. So when we had that conversation that day in film study, that shit threw me all the way up. Like, okay, I went from starting to playing decent minutes to now I don't know what the fuck. Again, he's changing my game. You feel me? Changing my motherfucking game. So fast forward again, I'm seeing the score, seeing the court sporadically. Every now and then, I may play decent amount of minutes. Sometimes I may play a few minutes. And when it really got to me, I remember is when we played LSU in Baton Rouge. That was the first time in my life I did not get in the game. To me, I hit rock bottom. Now I don't know. Like again, I'm just 20 years old, man. I'm still immature. Like I'm not emotionally ready for all of this shit. So that shit hurt the fuck out of my feelings. Straight up and down. I ain't gonna lie to you, not. I remember after we flew back, got back to our rooms or whatever. I was in my goddamn apartment room crying my motherfucking eyes out. And again, I'm just confused because I know how talented I am. I know all of the hard work that I've put in is validation for me seeing the court. The head coach is playing with my motherfucking life. You remember that R. Kelly interview with Gail King? That's how yeah, straight up. Like I was so confused and lost because I just knew like realistically speaking, I already knew like I was good enough. I was doing all the right things. It wasn't like I was disrespectful to the coach. You tell me to do some shit, I'm gonna do it. But shit, you know what I mean? I'm still gonna add in my own little flavor. You dig what I mean? Even then, I attempted to do the same thing I did in high school. I went to have a conversation with the coach that recruited me, Coach Johnson. And I'm just trying to figure out, hey, what's going on? Why I'm not seeing the court? What can I do to get more time? I'm trying to figure it out. I'm not even gonna try to complain or whatever. I'm just trying to gain another understanding. Like, is it something I'm not doing? What am I not doing? What can I do? You feel me? So he told me what he thought. He like maybe need to speak to the head coach. So that's what I do. I speak to the head coach. Oh, just play hard, do what you're told. Produce all of these bullshit, all of these goddamn bulletin points that he was checking off. You know how you call into like customer service, let's say like goddamn Xfinity, and you get one of the motherfuckers that literally is there just to go over the bulletin points and not really address what your fucking displeasure or concern is. That's what that conversation. He's just telling me like the bulletin point things of what I could be doing to see the court. So once that happened, I pretty much was like, man, fuck this shit, man. I'm just about to enjoy my time as a college student, athlete, actually enjoy college life. Like I'm not about to. And again, if I was older, more mature, I probably would have put in more work. You know what I mean? I probably would have fought through that and came out resilient. But the things that were going on wasn't adding up. You know what I mean? Like my blueprint was falling apart. The league is no longer in my sights. Like I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna get to the league or play professionally if I'm not on the fucking court? And no disrespect to nobody in front of me that was playing, but I knew what my skill set was going to bring to the team. And I was better than anyone in front of me. I ain't talking about on some one-on-one type shit. I'm talking about in a game setting, team setting. I was better than any motherfucker that was in front of me. No lies. That's real shit. Like I was, so that's why it hurt me so much because I'm like, these motherfuckers shouldn't be playing over me. You know what I mean? I even remember like in practice, like I'm, doing my thing. I'm still, putting up buckets in practice. You got this one of the assistant coaches was his dad. Oh, aren't you got to try to figure out a way to get you on the court? One of the grad assistants said the same thing. I'm like, talk to that motherfucker. Like, tell me y'all need to figure out a way for me to get on the court. Can't y'all get that coach here? The fuck? So I'm getting upset and depressed and mad because I don't know what the fuck going on. And this was my introduction into college sports, big Division I politics. So let me tell you when it all connected for me to where I understood and realized that it was politics. This is where I have my answer. So after my junior year, there's always an exit meeting in sports. If you're a part of like a program or whatever. And pretty much what that means is if you're coming back the next year, you and the coach have a conversation about the year that just passed as far as the season, talk about the ups and downs and things you can improve on and what they expect out of you or look forward from you in the upcoming season. Me and Jeff Nebo had our meeting, right? And I completely zoned out. I don't know a motherfucking thing that we talked about. Only one thing stood out to me. This guy had the audacity to tell me the person that was playing in front of me, he didn't say this exactly, but I ain't no dumb motherfucker. Like I can read the tea leaves and shit, read between the lines or whatever. But pretty much he told me the person that he trusted in front of me let him down. And that's pretty much why my playing time was correct. Now again, he didn't say the word verbatim, but I was no dumb motherfucker. I could read what the fuck you were trying to say. But pretty much you were saying the person that you recruited that had a down year, you had your faith in them and you sacrificed the season of mine. That's what the fuck you was telling me. That's the only thing I heard that mean. I didn't hear nothing about how I did or what the expectation was for me. Once I heard those implied tea leaves, that's all I took away from that meeting. Like, oh, this motherfucker didn't goddamn sacrifice the season of mine for somebody he recruited because I wasn't his recruit. He didn't trust or put me in, as far as giving me the playing time I deserved because he wanted to play his recruit. What kind of bullshit is that? Politics. The person in front of me had more of a following, so to speak, or he was more recognized coming into college or to Auburn than what I was. Obviously, because the head coach recruited him, the assistant coach recruited me. Man, once I heard that, man, fuck this shit, bro. I was out. Not literally, but like my mind was gone from there. You know what I mean? So fast forward to the next year. Now, unfortunately, I became ineligible because what happened was even though my my credits transferred from my junior college, my GPA did. So during that transition, me dealing with my new schedule, going through the adversity I did on the court, my grades slipped a little bit, not from a perspective of like I was failing like that, but because I was technically a junior, I was held at a junior standard grade point average. But if my grades would have traveled from the junior college and that was averaged in, I would have been straight. So pretty much, I was coming into a new institution, and I was figuratively a freshman because this is my first time at this school, but y'all wasn't bringing in like my grade point average from my other school. Like I had to start off fresh. That wasn't fair, but I ain't about to cry over spilled milk. It is what it is, right? So I was ineligible. I mean, still was with the squad, practice at all the games, whatever, whatever. Um, so fast forward through that year. I'm still doing my motherfucking thing. Like, I'm practicing. I'm still enjoying my college life as a student, but I'm still here with the team or whatever. And next season comes to its conclusion, and we have another exit. So when I come up, um, I'm like, so are you bringing me back? What's the plan? Jeff Lebo says, well, I don't know. I don't know about your injury, if your knee's going to hold up. Pretty much bullshitting me. What he was referring to is I had a case of tendonitis in my right knee that kept me out a few weeks. One time during the season. And that's the excuse that he was trying to lean on, not knowing that he was bringing me back. So, previous year, you pretty much tell me that your recruit lets you down. That's why I didn't see the floor as much. Now, this year, you're going to try to give me some little cop out like excuse about my knee. You said that like I motherfucking had reconstructed knee surgery or some shit. What the fuck was you dealing with tendonitis? What the fuck is you talking about? You know, so that's when it was a wrap. Like, and before I go on, finishing up this pod, I want to say this very respectfully. And again, I say respectfully because I don't have any animus towards it. But I'm just a real motherfucker. You dig what I'm saying? Jeff Lebo, if you ever come across this, fuck you respectfully, bro. Fuck you respectfully because you are the one that ended the trajectory of my pro aspirations. And that's real shit. Like, again, I don't dwell on this shit. Like, I'm cool where I'm at now, but just, when you start thinking about it, you just be, you keep it a buck with yourself. That's what happened. One year you tell me you were depending on your recruit over me, then the next year you want to use a cop out about my knee because I had tendonitis. Shut the fuck up. So it doesn't end there. So I'm telling them, okay, I'm about to go find me someone else to play or whatever. And I remember that summer, I get a phone call because another player they transferred to because they wasn't fucking with them either. They're like, man, I'm out this bitch. My guy Nat Harrell. he transferred to another school. He was actually my roommate while I was at Auburn. So a scholarship became available. You know what they tried to do to me? They tried to give me that scholarship on some charity type shit. Again, Jeff Lebo still fucking with me, playing with me, man. So pretty much, I get a call from the assistant coach, Coach Johnson, who recruited me, right? And he like, yeah, we really would like to have you back. A scholarship just opened up. Whatever kind of bullshit excuse he was trying to give me. I really didn't want to leave, but I knew I had to leave to try to assist try to continue on with my blueprint. I'm just gonna have to do this somewhere else. So this is what I told Coach Johnson. I was like, if Jeff Lebo is the one that tells me he wants me to stay, then I'll stay. Since that motherfucker want to play with me, I'm gonna play too. Shit. You ain't like we're not doing this shit again to where you bring the assistant coach to try to reel me back in because if you really want me, you'll goddamn tell me this shit. I ain't doing this shit again with you. You think that call ever came? Nope. So fast forward from there, like I started to not even like I lost focus. I mean, went to another school and shit didn't work out there, and then I just ended up at another school where it was some bullshit, but I had put myself in that position because I just lost focus. I started getting into a little bit of trouble, which I'm not even going to get, get into now. That's probably going to be a part of a different pod or another pod, further down the line. But yeah, Jeff Bebo fucked up my trajectory, man. He did. Like I had the game plan all figured out, and that was the time that in retrospect, I do appreciate going through that because it allowed me to experience and learn from that shit to where you can't just have this one plan. You got to be able to make adjustments, have a contingency plan, things of that nature. Um, so I do appreciate the experience, but it still doesn't eliminate the fact that that motherfucker played the shit out. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, once that happened, man, I ain't gonna lie, like I lost faith in basketball. Like, you know what I mean? I lost faith in, hard work and preparation and, things of that nature because at this time I'm like, oh, politics trumps all of this shit when money starts to get involved or money is potentially gonna be, pretty much given to you at some point. That's when the politics start to play. And I'm like, you know what? I don't fuck with that politics shit. I ain't, what I mean? Like the genuine love of the game, like I still got that, but this shit ain't what I signed up for. And, I went through some shit after that, started to go through like real life shit that pretty much formed me into who I am today, which I do appreciate because you have to go through shit to learn and, grow and evolve and things of that nature. So again, that's why I don't, hold that grudge against Lebo, but yeah, I mean, I still got to be honest in my story and my experience of what I went through, and yeah, what I mean. That's what pretty much led me to the space I'm in now. I kind of touched on this for a quick second in my first episode, my introduction, but yeah, I just wanted to come here and just give y'all full contextualize conversation of what really happened back then and what led me into what I'm doing now. I was one of the best basketball players growing up in my area, had aspirations of playing professionally, and then shit ran into Jeff Lebo at Auburn University. Now I still love the fuck out of Auburn University. Now that's never gonna change. My teammates that I came across that I still, are connected with, in some shape, form, or fashion. Nothing but love. I love the school. I love, my time there. It was just the basketball aspect that didn't work out because of the obvious reasons. So I'm not resentful because, shit happened, life happened. And that's the thing, just to kind of wrap things up, whenever things don't go your way, or if you have like a set goal or plan and something interrupts that, it's all about making adjustments. It's all about figuring out your next move. It's all about evolving into something else. It's all about having a contingency plan. Like that's what life's about. Because life is gonna throw you curveballs. Like that's just what's gonna happen. There's no way of avoiding that. There's no way of having just a straight path to success. Like you're gonna go through trials and tribulations. Like it's gonna happen. There's no way of avoiding this. So you have to, go through it, get through it, but always appreciate the steps that led you to evolve into whatever you're gonna be. Because at the end of the day, your script is already written, but it's up to you to put the final touches on that bitch. You feel what I'm saying? Like that's a real thing. So I hope you enjoyed this candid conversation, me really getting into the intricate details of what truly happened with my basketball career. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get it fucked up and confused. I, never stopped loving basketball or having a passion for it. It's just that when I went through that stage of, running up against the politics, I gave up for a second. Like, this shit ain't for me. You know what I mean? Like I said, if I had the will and the mature mind I have at this age, then things would have turned out differently. But again, you got to go through shit to learn shit. You got to experience shit to grow from shit. You feel what I'm saying? So, with that being said, you already know what time it is. Anyone can talk, but not everyone can podcast. With that being said, I'm out this bit.